Hello, hello. We are going to dive right into writing linear equations if we have the table. Two things that we need to know. Can we find the slope? And can we find the y-intercept? First page is going to be easier. Second page is going to be tougher. Let's get at it. Cool, we're looking for the slope and the y-intercept. All right, y equals. Can we find the slope? That is the change in y over the change in x. So it's going up to, change in y is positive 2. Go ahead and change that change in y, and go ahead and put in a positive 2. Over our change in x, the x's are just counting by ones here. That is super easy. It's going up 1, so I could fill in the change in x as a 1. So as my slope, 2 over 1. Obviously, we can simplify that, as most kids will, and say, hey, the slope is just 2. So y equals 2x. That means it's going to keep happening for every single x that you have. That is your slope. Y equals mx plus b. We need our b, our beginning point. We always look for the 0. That is 43. So our y-intercept is 43. Our equation is y equals 2x. That's the slope, 2. 2x plus 43. 43 is our beginning, our y-intercept. Cool, so these equations are easy when you have the y-intercept. In fact, on this one, it's already at 12. Cool, I can just put a plus 12 at the end. Now I'm going to go ahead and find my slope. Remember that slope is change in y over change in x. If I take a look at my y's, I notice, hey, they're going up 2. It looks pretty similar to the last one. But notice then my change in x's are going by 3s. So my slope is 2/3. I fill it into the equation. Y equals 2/3 x plus 12, and I am done. Cool, we see how easy it is when we have the y-intercept, when we have that point 0 comma something. Cool, what do we notice about the next two problems? They do not have the y-intercept. There is no 0 point. So let's go ahead and see what we can fill in. Y equals, we need our slope, that is change in y. Notice that our change in y here is a -3. Over our change in x, that's just counting by ones. Sweet, so -3 over 1. We can simplify that just to a -3. So I got -3x plus, y equals mx plus b. What is that beginning value? I don't see it. I don't have my 0. Watch, I'm just going to go ahead and put in a b. I don't know, have you ever solved an equation that had 3 variables in it before? Well, if we're trying to solve for b, that just means I need an x and a y to plug in. You go ahead and pick whichever x and y you would like to plug in. As I look at the table, I'm probably going to pick something that maybe has some nice, this one looks pretty nice with the 40, a nice even. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in 40 for my x. Keep the slope there. I'm going to go ahead and plug in 143 for the y, my favorite number. And then we can solve for our beginning point, our b value. We just go ahead and multiply by the parentheses using PEMDAS, or I love GEMDAS. Do the groups. All right, how do I get rid of -120? I just add 120. I add 120. Hey, look, I got my b value. It is 263. I don't circle that, because remember my instructions were write the linear equation. Y equals, kind of had it up here, -3x plus, now we know our b value. I like to call this strategy plug in and solve for b. If you know the Walk the Moon song, shut up and dance with me. Same strategy. You can go ahead and check out my YouTube song where I redid the Walk the Moon song. Plug in and solve for b. All right, sweet. So I think we're good here. We got slope. We can do change in y over change in x. And then we simply write plus b, plug in, and solve for b. All right, easy enough. Let's go ahead and check out this other table, which doesn't have the b. It doesn't have the beginning. It does not have the 0 point. No worries. We're doing y equals our slope, which is change in y over change in x. Notice that the y's are going +3, +3, +3. So I can go ahead and fill in my change in y as a +3. Check out the change in x. It's going by 10s. It's going by 10s. It's going by 10s. I'm going to go ahead and erase my change in x and call it a +10. Y equals mx plus, yikes, we don't have the b. No worries. Plug in and solve for b. Go ahead and pick any point that you want. First one, last one, nice numbers, whatever you want. Do we have a y value? Yep, we do. We have a 20. There it is with the y's. I got a 3/10. I'm going to go ahead and change to decimals at this moment. I like that better. Do I have an x? Yep, that 5 paired up with the 20. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in the 5. Plug in and solve for b. 20 equals, we go ahead and multiply 0.3 times 5. 3 times 5 is 15. Move the decimal over. 1.5. And here we are, solving for b. b equals 18.5. Do I circle it? Nope, because my job is to write the equation. Y equals slope. Y equals mx plus b. Is it okay to have fractions and decimals in the same problem? Sure. Is it okay to have all decimals in the same problem? Sure. Write it however you want. Doesn't matter to me. As long as you plug in and solve for b. There you go. That is how you write the linear equation of a table. That's it. Find your slope. Find your y-intercept. Plug in and solve for b.